Throughout history, there have been events that humanity has caused that have serious and irreversible consequences. These events have made a huge mark on the face of the earth that has cost people lives and harm to the world we live in. Catastrophic events such as Hiroshima, the Holocaust, slavery, pollution, and global warming has caused serious damage that is irreversible. These events have taken so many lives, and the damage done cannot be undone. The two atomic bombs dropped on Japan in 1945 killed and maimed hundreds of thousands of people, and their effects are still being felt today. The uranium bomb detonated over Hiroshima on August 6, 1945 had an explosive yield equal to 15,000 tons of TNT. It razed and burnt around 70% of all buildings and caused an estimated 140,000 deaths by the end of 1945, along with the increased rates of cancer and chronic disease among the survivors. A slightly larger plutonium bomb exploded over Nagasaki 3 days later, leveled 6.7 kilometers squared of the city, and killed 74,000 people by the end of 1945. Ground temperatures reached 4,000 Celsius and radioactive rain poured down. This event has caused serious damage to Hiroshima that is irreversible, and what is done cannot be undone. The Nazi Holocaust has had a continuing and widely reverberating consequences not only for the Jewish survivors but for the world at large. These consequences are detailed first through a personal account of an Auschwitz survivor and then through a discussion of the additive measures of a concentration camp inmates and the long-term psychiatric and physiological effects on the survivors and their families. The survivor or concentration camp syndrome and its relationship to the post-traumatic stress disorder is described. Indirect effects of the Holocaust have been manifested in various ways, particularly through various levels of psychological denial displaced by Holocaust criminals and at least during the early post-war period by German public. The Holocaust has had a profound effects on the ways the Jewish people regard themselves and are seen by others. Finally, the Holocaust can be seen as offering a kind of paradigmatic signature to the World War view of the end of the 20th century that has done serious damage that cannot be undone. Slavery. It is America's open wound. It is the painful injury that a third of America lives with, and the rest of the country attempts to ignore because for them it is an ancient scar, and, well, hasn't it healed by now? Its very name evokes emotions so strong that Americans demand that we no longer speak of it, while others, those who live with its enduring impact, cry it out loud in hopes that America will finally have the conversation about it that has refused to have for nearly 400 years. Slavery's long legal existence created the American caste system that endures today, one that maintains a false white superiority and a black inferiority built on an unfair education system, unfair employment system, and social institutions that support this notion while appropriating black language, music, and fashion. Slavery has impacted the nation, and the past cannot be undone. Environmental pollution is currently the biggest challenge facing the world today. In the United States, 40% of rivers and 46% of lakes are too polluted for fishing, swimming, and aquatic life. Not surprising, though, when 1.2 trillion gallons of untreated stormwater, industrial waste, and untreated sewage are being discharged annually into American waters. 1/3 of the topsoil in the world is already degraded, and with the current rate of soil degradation caused by the improper agricultural and industrial practices and deforestation, most of the world's topsoil could be gone within the next 60 years. The Great Smog in 1952 killed 8,000 people in London. This event was caused by a period of cold weather combined with windless conditions that formed a dense layer of airborne pollutants, mostly from coal plants over the city. These events of pollution have cost many lives and the damage done cannot be undone. According to the National Climate Assessment, human influences are the number one cause of global warming, especially the carbon pollution we cause by burning fossil fuels and the pollution capturing we prevent by destroying forests. The carbon dioxide, methane soot, and other pollutants we release into the atmosphere act like a blanket, trapping the sun's heat and causing the planet to warm. Evidence shows that 2000 to 2009 was hotter than any other decade in at least the past 1300 years. This warming it's altering the Earth's climate system, including its land, atmosphere, oceans, and ice in far-reaching ways. Higher temperatures are worsening many types of disasters, including storms, heat waves, floods, and droughts. A warmer climate creates an atmosphere that can collect, retain, and drop more water, changing weather patterns in such a way that wet areas become wetter and dry areas become drier. These events are causing major damage to the Earth that are irreversible, and what's done cannot be undone. In conclusion, these catastrophic events such as Hiroshima, the Holocaust, slavery, pollution, and global warming has caused serious damage upon the world that cannot be ignored. In order to move forward, we must acknowledge that these events has happened and try to learn from the mistakes from the past to build a brighter future. Although what is done cannot be undone, we can learn from the past to make sure that these catastrophic events do not happen again or harm us in the future.